everyone, this is Electronics, and today I'm going to share with you some of the emotions that came up for me throughout the release of Ocean Friends. And I feel it's important to share this side of the journey of the release of Ocean Friends because the emotional triggers that we have, the emotions that come up throughout releasing a single or working towards releasing our music is extremely important to our growth and extremely important to us healing certain issues and emotional injuries that we carry inside of us related to our passions. So I feel it's really important to share some of the emotions that came up for me as it might help you with your journey in releasing some music. I've always said on this channel that the emotional work needs to be just as much as the physical output that we put into our music. So I believe that you can't engage your passion music without doing the work on yourself emotionally. There are many people who have engaged their passions just on a complete outward external level. So no emotional work at all. They've been quite successful, yes. But oftentimes these people who only chase the outward end up with a lot of problems later on down the track. These problems include mental and emotional health issues, suicide, depression, psychological problems, addiction issues, drugs and alcohol. So yes, while many people have made it and have been successful with just focusing on the outward external goals that they want to achieve, they've often suffered emotionally. So I believe for anyone who wants to have true success in their music journey, you have to do the emotional work alongside of it, because a lot of artists struggle with depression, struggle with mental health issues, and struggle with addiction issues before they make it. Now, if these issues are not addressed before they achieve the success that they want externally, then these issues will become a problem later on. So I've always promoted on this channel that you have to put in as much effort into your emotional work as you do your physical effort in your music journey. So what I want to do is share with you some of the emotions that have come up for me throughout my release of Ocean Friends. And I want to share this so that it might assist you in your music journey. Because if you're going to release an album or a single, some of these emotions might come up for you and you may not know how to deal with them or work through them. So I want to share what emotions came up for me and also what I did to work through them so that you might find this useful and can apply it in your own music journey as well. Okay, so I need my journal for this because I don't remember all the emotions I go through. Okay, so I guess for me, the biggest emotion that came up for me throughout this journey of releasing Ocean Friends was this persistent feeling inside of me that I still have feelings around being a female in the music industry. There's errored beliefs and pain. Let's call it pain. I have pain around how I feel about myself as a female. So that one came up for me a lot throughout Ocean Friends. The pain that I have around being a female in this music industry. So the way that I know this is through the triggers, the interactions I have with people and, the mild annoyances, frustrations leading to fully blown rage that comes up around how I'm treated. So this tells me I have more work to do around how I feel about myself as a female. So I guess like some of the things that I did to work on that was just simply, I guess, acknowledging the truth of that. Like, wow, I'm completely fucking rageful about this, like I'm being treated this way and I'm so angry about it. Getting out of denial and just like saying the truth of how you feel. And then if you're more humble than me, because at the time I wasn't, you would allow yourself to go into the pain of who treated you like that in your childhood. Something that I haven't yet quite gotten to because I'm still holding on to the rage and the anger. Yeah, I actually got sick throughout the process. I made myself sick because of my rage and suppressing the rage. Instead of actually feeling through the rage, I suppressed it and then I got sick because of that. So, tip number 1, don't suppress your rage. If your rage comes up, allow yourself to feel it and express it because you will get sick. Trust me. But if you can get past the rage and the anger and then go into the pain of actually who treated you like that in your childhood, then that's going to help you to work through that addiction to needing to be treated equally. Because the moment you demand to be treated equal, you demand to be treated the same. You can desire it, but the moment you demand it is when now you are out of harmony with love and you have to work on why you're demanding that. So I'm still in the place of probably demanding to be treated equally to males, and it's something that I need to work on. So what I needed to do was feel how I was treated as a girl in my childhood by my parents. So what did my parents teach me about being female? What were some of their error beliefs they pushed onto me about being female? So I need to feel my pain around that, but I didn't get to that process. I chose to suppress my rage and live in it rather than get further into the deep grief about how I was treated as a female by my mom or my dad and what they taught me about that. So there's some pain that I have around how my dad treated me. My dad always wanted a boy. My dad completely rejected me as a female, as a girl. So I have a lot of rage around being rejected by males because of my gender, because of my sex. So there's a lot of rage that I have towards my father for how he treated me as a girl. Well, actually a lot of pain, really deep down pain that I haven't allowed myself to feel. So that was a really big emotion that came up for me that I'm still working on. I haven't processed it completely. Just at the moment, trying to get out of denial about it. And yeah, but the next step is to feel down into the grief, which, I pray to goodness that I can get to eventually. All right, so the second big emotion that came up for me, which tells me I still haven't yet fully worked on this, is the pain that I have around my culture, around my Aboriginal heritage, and the pain that I have of being constantly placed in a box because of my cultural heritage. There's a lot of pain still that I have around that, which was definitely triggered throughout the release of Ocean Friends. So I know that I still have a lot more to work on that, but I find that I'm still being placed in a box by the music industry in the Indigenous only categories. I notice that I'm being played only on the Aboriginal shows on certain radio stations, and they're still kind of pigeonholing me to that category rather than going, this song's awesome and we're going to play her on this, show that's Aboriginal identified, but we're also going to play her on these mainstream shows as well. I don't just see myself as an Aboriginal person. I see myself as a soul who bleeds the same, looks the same on the inside as everybody else. And so while I'm grateful for that support, I also see that I'm still being pigeonholed and boxed into the Aboriginal only categories or identified celebrations, platforms, stages, and all those sorts of things. And I'm sure it's not intentional for them, but for somebody who's just experienced this over and over and over, it's something that I still carry a lot of pain around. I don't just want to be known in the Indigenous or Aboriginal only categories. I suppose my feelings are well, if I'm good enough for those categories, then I'm good enough for these other categories as well. Um, but in saying all of that, the feelings that I'm having are my feelings, and they're not justified, like in the sense that I need to take responsibility for how I'm feeling. Because right now I feel like I should be treated fairly. I should be treated equally. I should be supported in this category, but I should be supported in all categories. That's the feeling I have. And that's what we call an addiction. A demand and an expectation of what we want to have happen. And it's very unhealthy to live in this place of feeling that way. I've come to know that these feelings are addictions that we want other people to meet inside of us. But the more we heal these demands and expectation, the more we will see our environment respond differently to us automatically. And we don't have to fight for things to happen. We don't have to push. We don't have to force change in other people. We don't have to force the growth of our music journey, by forcing others to treat us differently. The more we work on ourselves emotionally, the more we will find that other people will want to support us automatically because they desire to and not because they're being forced to. So that's why I share this, because it's really important to recognize that a lot of people would, say that, well, yeah, you should be treated fairly. You should be treated like just. Yes, true. But when it gets to the point where you're now demanding that of others to treat you fairly, to treat you just, now that's a problem with inside of me. So I'm trying to work towards correcting these emotional injuries, these triggers inside of this trauma. It's actually trauma, like trauma inside of me that attracts that treatment to me. And I'm talking about now intergenerational trauma. Yeah, the way that intergenerational trauma works is that if the previous generation doesn't heal that trauma, then it gets absorbed into the next generation in the womb. So I've inherited these feelings inside of me because I'm Aboriginal from my previous, ancestors who didn't get to heal this feeling inside of them, like the way that they were treated, the way that they were persecuted and kept in a box and in chains and not allowed to, live their life. So my goal is to heal this trauma and to not pass it on to the next generation. I want to heal this feeling inside of me and the pain that I have around my cultural identity, the pain that I have around being Aboriginal and what that means in this world and the boxes that I get put into. So I have a lot of pain around being placed into a box because I'm Aboriginal and, having limitations put onto me that, I can only, achieve this much. I can't achieve like that much, like the limitations that I feel are placed on me because of my Aboriginal heritage. And for me, I'd love to be able to heal this pain inside of my soul about what it means to be Aboriginal and what it feels like to be placed in these boxes, and to process through that trauma so that I can hopefully grow tall and branch out and, grow beyond the box. And overall, what I came to discover and conclude was that I just have a shitload of demands and expectations still that I have to work on with my addictions in music. So a lot of these demands and expectations are around, I want to feel supported. I want to be valued, respected, seen, good enough, loved, cared for, wanted, missed, heard, uplifted, treated well, feel like I matter. I want to feel like I'm equal, that I'm worthy, that I have status, that I am important, that I have a voice, that I'm accepted, that I'm treated well, that I'm great, that I'm talented. I have an addiction to, I want my hard work to be noticed. I want to feel like I'm somebody. I want to feel like I have equal status to males. And, white and black artists. I want to feel successful, that I'm part of the gang, like I belong, that my talents are validated, that I'm cool and I'm not a loser, that I am responded to, that I'm treated fairly, just, equal, and listened to. They're just a few of the expectations and demands that I've discovered I still have. Lots of feelings got triggered throughout this process. And the key is now for me to work on this emotionally and go through this emotional process, which I'm not there yet. I'm still kind of getting out of denial about all of these problems. But the way to work on your triggers or your emotions, if you're going to release music, is to notice when you become mildly annoyed, frustrated, to fully blown rage, or when you become scared, or when you become sad. Notice the feelings that come up throughout releasing your music and allow yourself to reflect on them, to feel them, and to discover what's underneath them. Where do they come from? But you don't want to get too intellectual about figuring things out. The most important thing is that when an emotion is triggered, you allow yourself to feel it and you don't shut it down. Because I can guarantee, as I mentioned, if you get triggered in rage and you shut down your rage, I can guarantee you're going to get sick physically. So allow yourself to feel every little emotion that comes up throughout this process and go deeper. Desire with all your heart to know why you feel that way and where it comes from. The moment you can get out of denial about your addictions, about what you're demanding and expecting from the world with your music releases, is the moment that you project it less out into the world. So you want to get to the point where you're just coming into a truth about how you feel and about what you're still expecting and demanding to have happen from the world. The beautiful thing about working on your emotions is that if you feel through it and heal it completely, you'll attract less and less situations that treat you badly to trigger this feeling. Like you're going to change your law of attraction where people will treat you differently if you continue to work through these emotions. You won't have to force change in the world. You won't have to force people to treat you differently. They're going to automatically treat you differently. Lots of benefits can come if you can work on these. I have experienced some of those benefits. However, because I'm still working through a lot of this stuff, I, still haven't seen the full results of it yet. But in the past, when I have worked on something, I've definitely seen my law of attraction change, and I've definitely seen a difference in improving the quality of my life and my friendships and relationships and people that I attracted into my life. So I know that it does work and it can completely change your life, where you will no longer force and demand change in the world, but you create the change through healing your soul. And that's exactly the place that you want to get to, is where you start creating change through healing your soul. You don't have to work as hard physically to create the change. You don't have to work like a little mouse on a wheel. You automatically start creating change through healing your soul. How cool will that be? I've experienced it maybe once or twice, but I want to experience more of it because it's such a powerful place to be in. You feel a sense of, it's not even like power, like it's just, you feel God's power in your life in that place. You feel how your faith is strengthened in God and in this healing process. And because your faith is strengthened in God and God's capability and ability to heal you and help you to change your life, you feel loved and cared for by God. And it's just such a beautiful place to be in, because you then know that, wow, if God can help me to achieve this thing, then God can help me to achieve this other thing. So you grow your faith in God and in healing, especially if the process is engaged with God. Because, by the way, I haven't mentioned God before, but throughout this whole process, I'm involving God in my emotional work. So I'm praying to God, asking God to help me to see this error or that error, or to help me to feel deeper, or to, show me where I'm going wrong, or to help me to heal this pain. Like I'm praying to God to get to know God and to learn about who God is. So I'm engaging God in this process all the way, because without engaging God, we can do this emotional work, but it's going to take twice as long, 100 times longer than what it would if we just involve God. So that is the benefit of doing this with God, is that your faith grows stronger in God, and you know that with God you can achieve anything. On your own, it's going to be a lot harder. You might be able to achieve some things, but with God, it's going to be so much easier, so much more joyful, so much more fulfilling. And you're going to develop this beautiful relationship with God, who can, assist you and help you in your life. And you know that you can turn to God for anything, for any of your needs. God's going to help you out. Some other emotions that came up for me throughout the process of releasing Ocean Friends was a lot of fear, actually, because I'm no longer working. I'm not getting any government assistance or financial support from the government. So for me, engaging my passions full-time, 100%, brought up a lot of fear of safety, of how am I going to eat? How am I going to put a roof over my head? So a lot of my addictions to safety was being triggered, my fears to safety and all of that. So that was some emotions that I had to allow myself to feel and not listen to, because it's so easy to listen to your fear when you get into a state of fear, and you start to become self-reliant, and you start to, forget about, relying on God and your relationship with God, and you start relying on yourself to get yourself out of the, fear that you're in. So I had to really, like, every time I got scared about, like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to pay rent or how I'm going to pay food, I just had to, like, allow myself to feel that fear rather than act on it, because I could have, gotten a job or gone searching for this and that to get a job, and all of that. But, like, I just allowed myself to, just feel through what I was feeling. And amazingly, like, little bits of money come through here and there, and little things started to shift and change. So it definitely, helped me to trust in this process of engaging my passions, like, full time, because I've been so self-reliant on my employment to pay for my bills and put a roof over my head. But allowing myself to just engage my passions full time has helped me to, like, work through some of these fears about going homeless, about not being able to eat and things like that. And I've discovered that actually you can engage your passions and not go hungry and not go homeless. And, that's all fears are false beliefs. The fear was telling me I should get a job, I should give up on my passions, I should do all these, other things to try and get some money. That's what my fear was telling me. But I pushed through it, and instead of acting on that fear, I just felt it, acknowledged it, and kept engaging my passions. So that's what I recommend to do if you have those fears come up when you're trying to engage your passion of music in your life every single day. So that was another emotion that came up for me as well. But that's pretty much all of the emotions that came up for me throughout the process of releasing Ocean Friends. And I thought I'd just share that to hopefully inspire you with your own music journey, to always look at your emotions, always look at what comes up for you emotionally when you're trying to engage your passion of music in your life every single day, when you're trying to release music, so that you can recognize the trauma that still exists inside of you and recognize what you still need to heal in your passions, in engaging your passions. So the more you allow yourself to feel these emotions, the more that you'll be able to release them from your soul, the more that you'll be able to engage your passion of music in a more loving and healthy way towards yourself and other people. So that's why I share this part of my journey in releasing this single, Ocean Friends. And also I will continue to share this part of the journey in releasing an album, is to share the emotions that come up in terms of what I need to still work on, still process through, so that you can perhaps use it as a guide in your own music journey as well. In saying that, the emotions that come up for me might be quite different to the emotions that come up for you, because we all have different lived experiences, and so our emotional triggers are not always going to be the same. But the process of working through them will be the same for everyone. You know, it's about getting out of denial, coming into an intellectual awareness of the emotions that are in your soul, and then coming to feel in your heart the pain of that emotion and where it came from. And that's now becoming aware in your soul. That's developing a soul-based awareness of your emotional injuries, and then going through a process of working through that emotion so that you can release it completely from your soul. It's not a very easy process, one that I still struggle with, but I'm hoping that I can continue to work on my emotions and continue to heal. And it's not going to happen overnight, but it's just about having a desire to heal, having a desire to know what your feelings and emotional injuries are, having a desire to know and feel your pain, and having a desire to know and feel where it comes from, the cause of your pain. If you get to the stage where you have some growth in your music journey, you want to be able to approach your music journey in a loving way, not one that harms you or harms other people. And that's exactly what happens with a lot of musicians who do have some success and growth in their music journey, is because they haven't worked on themselves emotionally. When they have that growth, when they have that success, they then perpetuate a lot of unloving behavior towards themselves and other people through addictions and substance abuse and arrogance and narcissism and all sorts of problems. But that's it from me today. I hope that you have learned something and that it can be of some kind of benefit to you in your life, in your music journey. Also, if you want to keep up with my music journey, you can follow me on Spotify, SoundCloud, Bandcamp, or any streaming service of your choice. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos like this. Hit that bell for notifications. And also, if you want to buy yourself some Beats to Life merch, I have some new Ocean Friends t-shirts available as well. And don't forget, if you want to donate to me, my links are in the description as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, I'm Electronics, and I shall talk to you soon.